We are now in week 16 of the 1984 coal strike. Our colliery here at Bersham is the last survivor of 36 pits in the Wrexham area. If there is a hit list, we will be on it. The most obvious feature here is the quiet. No pickets, no police, no violence. Why is that?
Well, from day one, there's no need to put pickets on because we're out in total in Bersham. There's no man trying to go back in. There's no need to put pickets. The only thing that we are putting on in Bersham Colliery is we're providing safety cover.
Last Friday at a public meeting, Arthur Scargill dealt with the issues as we see them.
One thing that they forgot or didn't understand was that they were dealing with a union whose history and traditions are second to none throughout the world, whose commitment and whose loyalty is unswerving in terms of defence of jobs and the fight for improvement of wages and better conditions. And I believe it's timely that we assess exactly why we're involved in this action. We're not involved in strike action because the miners were bloody-minded or wanted to take strike. We're involved in action because McGregor, urged on by Margaret Thatcher, has decided to impose a closure programme that will decimate the British coalfield. And to translate that into common day language, it means this: that all those pits who produce coal at what they consider is an uneconomic price compared with other pits, not uneconomic in general terms, will be eliminated from the industry. And we said no. We're not in the business of butchering this industry. And that's why we decided to take some action. Now, for the benefit of the media, we didn't say to our members, you shall do this. We didn't go and tell them what we wanted them to do. We sent every single branch of this union a copy of the union's claim for wages and better conditions, and we sent them a full copy of the National Coal Board's reply. It was no accident that on the 6th of March, McGregor announced to the National Executive of the Union the first meeting under the conciliation scheme since he became chairman, that they were going to close 20 pits and eliminate 20,000 jobs. It was a decision designed to promote a strike in the British coalfield, designed to propel miners into action in the belief, first of all, they wouldn't do it, and secondly, if they did, it would be spasmodic and would fail within a matter of 2 weeks.
Well, we've made our decision, and now we've got to get on with it.
Just about surviving, that we were able to give them a weekly food parcel. Well, we've been fortunate really in the last month or so we've been able to give them two. One is fresh vegetables and fresh fruit, and another just the everyday needs of a house, such as tinned meat, beans, tomatoes, soups, that type of thing, you know. That's just helping to maintain the family life. Like. Yeah. Well, social security is such that it's very limited to a man that's on strike. Let me give you an instance now. A single man, he gets nil. The unfortunate thing is, you see, that we have got some members of ours that are bachelors, and we've also got members that are divorced, living on their own kind of thing. And it's a sad day in life, you know, when the food parcel as such goes to their houses, and they haven't got the means of putting money in the meter to cook this food. Like. That's some unfortunate, so I've got to go next door and ask the next door neighbours to cook it for me. It's disgraceful, really, that they're treating these men lower than criminals, in my opinion. We've having a great amount of help from the great city of Liverpool, that every week, through their generosity and their organisations, that they convey to this building here of ours on a Saturday tons of food, such as the fresh veg, the fresh fruit. Others, we get a few tins of here and there, and the rest we purchase ourselves through collections and different unions, organisations that rally to our cause and give us these donations. We go down the road and purchase what you could say now, the everyday needs, beans, etc. No? All right, people are fed up with beans and fed up with tin spam or tin corned beef, but it does help to sustain a bit of life in these families' homes. That when you've got, like you've asked me, just try it, how do these people surviving? That you've got a young married mother with 2 kiddies, and all the social security that's coming in is approximately £11–12 a week, plus their family allowance, of course. And how they expect a family to survive on that, I don't know. See, now this is our 16th week of our strike. We've lasted up to now, and I think the feeling amongst our members is that we've gone this far. We can't go back in yet. That they're prepared with their wives and their families standing by them, that they're prepared to go the whole hilt.
Papers around have been very good. The food, you know, at the weekend, which is when we need it most, because as the children were in school, they were having a dinner and a pudding, so we just had to provide a few sandwiches or cake and cornflakes for the supper. But as it goes on now, I don't know how we're going to cope. At the time, they hadn't started with the hampers up here then, and there was a friend of mine from down the road, her and her husband went to the supermarket and fetched a box of groceries. And it upset me because you felt as if at first you were begging, do you know what I mean? And they said you have to forget your pride and accept it, so I did. For the children's sake mostly, and that, so. But it did hurt. It upset me terrible. But I went for Social Security, and they asked for the last pay slips, so we had to send them in the last 5 pay slips. And then a reply come back that we wasn't entitled to it from such a date to such a date, which worked out as a month. So I applied for school dinners and I couldn't have it because Ken wasn't claiming supplementary. Well, he couldn't claim it because of the last pay packet off myself. So that had to last us the month. So I had to go on the phone and ask Jason's headmaster, could he give him a meal, and Lorraine, because I just couldn't afford to give him any dinner money, because that money was to last for a month, which it didn't. Like, and we were here really, and we had hunger pains, didn't we? We had no food in the house.
Not at all?
Not at all, not a bit in the house.
We and our families are prepared for a long siege, so we go about raising funds. Things like the market stall and street collections, which get a mixed response.
We get a lot of abuse by the people, you know, telling us that we've got a job to go to because we're minors. And, well, a lot of people forget, don't they? You know, a lot of Wrexham people forget. I don't know why, because they've gone all through it, the Wrexham people have, you know. And, well, it's time to realise that we're fighting for jobs. You know, and, well, Wrexham's bad for unemployment as it is, isn't it? So, like, there's only one pit here now, Bersham. When that goes away, you know, what's going to go next?
Well, did the local council help you a lot with the street collections?
Well, you know, we got the Wassim now to do it, you know, so that it is legal, like. But we've had a bit of trouble with it, you know, but it is legal now that we do it. But as you know...
Well, what was the trouble about? What was the...
Well, we didn't have a licence at first and we didn't know nothing about it. Well, I was one that was arrested for doing a street collection. And like, we were innocent enough, we didn't know that we had to have a licence or anything. But, well, the police said they drop it, but they don't, you know.
So how's that come out? Have you been let off now?
No, I got to go to court now. I've been charged with it.
And what is the official charge?
Well, I don't know, I was there, I didn't look much at it, but it's charged with begging on the Queen's Highway, we were told. You know, when we were arrested, you know, the policeman said we were charging with begging on the Queen's Highway. And we just laughed because we thought it was a big joke, like, you know, well, you would. You know, but he was proper serious, like. Well, we've had it now and it's for street collections. So, we don't know what's going to go from there, like.
To be charged with begging is only a local harassment. The treatment of striking minors nationally is another story.
right-wing totalitarianism. Don't everybody in this audience underestimate what I'm saying. You can't move in Nottinghamshire or South Yorkshire or the Midlands unless you explain who you are and where you're going. We've got a situation where it's tantamount to the pass laws in South Africa. You can't move from one part of a village to the other. There is a curfew imposed. And to say any other is to misrepresent the truth. Who thought in 1984 that a national riot police force would be deployed in an industrial situation against unarmed miners whose only protection is a t-shirt, a pair of jeans and a pair of pumps? And that was the tip of the iceberg. I'll tell you what happened in Orkney because I was there. They were unleashing dogs and setting them onto our people and tearing them. We had them in hospital. They were charging indiscriminately into the crowd with horses, with mounted police officers in riot gear, with staves, beating onto young people. And if you don't believe me, look at the pages in Labour Weekly this week with a photograph showing evidence that what I'm saying is true. And finally, they had squad after squad of fully armed riot police with drawn truncheons, battering our people indiscriminately. You don't get blows to the back of the head with 15 stitches when you're attacking somebody. Our lads were running away because they didn't want to be battered on the head. Don't tell me it's an equal contest. If it were an equal contest without the so-called authority of the law and the uniform, our lads would stand a chance with any. I get emotional about it. Too true, I get emotional. 3,000 of my members have been arrested. You ought to be screaming in the media about the erosion of civil liberties and human rights. We've had over 1,000 of our people are injured. The hospital in Rotherham was full of beds in the corridors, not with police, with pickets. Unarmed young lads whose only crime was to fight for the right to work. We've had 2 of our men killed and with people in prison. Emotional? Of course I'm emotional. And every worker in Britain should be responding. The dimension in this dispute of the emergence of the women's support groups. No longer are women content to merely give support within the household to their husbands, or to go to a soup kitchen to serve food, however valuable that is, because men are there as well. We're all fighting together. But women in 1984 recognised that Thatcher and McGregor don't only threaten the pit, they threaten a way of life, a culture and a community. And our women have begun to recognise the power within their hands. That's why they've joined us on the big
It involves us wives and our families as much as it does our husbands. They're fighting for their jobs. If they lose their job, then it's our purse string that's going to be caught up. It's our children that's not got a job to go to afterwards. Therefore, it does involve us, and you can't say that it doesn't.
I agree with what you say. You're saying what I'd say, exactly the same as I'd say.
When the strike first started, it was a general opinion, the general public, that I know I personally thought this, that the miners were on a hiding to nothing. How do you regard that now? Do you think you're still on a hiding to nil, or are you going to win?
We're going to win.
We're winning now. We're winning now. If they'd have all come out and been united, we'd have well won by now. It would have been over and done with. You know, you got them scabs who was keeping us out longer. They're the ones that's prolonging it. We'd have won long ago only for them scabs.
And I think if the wives that have been behind the ones that are working, for them to stay out, they would have been out winning.
You know, for every day them scabs go in, it's a week extra for us being out on strike.
Well, who do you regard as being a scabs?
Miners
Some
just going
working
into
miners, some working miners.
Of course they're scared.
You know, I think we'd get more support from the transport if they were all out. I mean, there's some, I don't always agree with them, but some transport workers saying, well, while there's miners working, we'll take coal and we'll take the iron ore. You know, if it was 100% that I'm saying, you know, they would.
Yeah, well, just one final question. When will you have to give up?
Never.
We're never going to give in. We've lost an awful lot of what we valued now, and we're certainly not going to give in now because we've lost most of what we value.
A Tory government's going to give in when there's no coal left. When the lights go out after Christmas, the lights will go out.
Strength of this dispute is the women have been involved more than ever before in any dispute, and the kids, even our own kids, understand this issue. It's so simple that the kids on the street, our own kids, they're behind us. They understand what the issue is. They miss a few meals here and there, but they're not worried. They know the long term. When we go back to work with victory, it's all been worthwhile.
And how long do you think you can last out?
Well, I'll last as long as this strike will go on.
You'll win?
We got to do.
That was week 16.